And here we are with The Blob. And it's the remake. I know, I did the last one, the original film last year, but I figured this one had such a good feeling to it. Basically, 1980s film, good sized budget, B-movie concept. Hey, it works perfectly fine. I love the fact that they start this movie off the way it does, and we get to be introduced to our core set of characters. It really does do quite a bit of work here. And of course, killer things from space always seem to come to a small town. I don't know why, but they do. And of course, we get to meet our supposed, or is this guy the hero of our piece? The jock, the famous football player. And it makes total sense. I mean, after all, just look at that face. He's probably going to save us all. And of course, the pretty cheerleader. Who can't love a face like that? Nothing bad could possibly ever happen to these people, right? And of course, the film's bad boy. You can't have a film without a bad boy biker, outlaw kind of character, and it just makes sense. I mean, you gotta have a film like that. And of course, the lovable old hermit. Nothing bad ever happens to them, right? I mean, right? And of course, you gotta have a sheriff. Gotta have the sheriff. I mean, it's not gonna bad happen anything to these characters. If anything, they'll just swoop in and fix all the problems. That's usually how it always goes. I mean, okay, that's not normal. It's probably just a flesh wound. I mean, come on, it's just a flesh wound, right? Oh! Okay, yeah, it's not a flesh wound, guys. It's definitely not a flesh wound. Yep, and of course, the pretty boy calls the cops. I mean, it's the right thing to do. I mean, you find an old guy in the woods being chased by the punk, and you bring them to a hospital with a thing on his hand. Nothing bad's ever supposed to happen, at least until that happens. I mean, what could possibly go wrong now? Okay, that can go wrong. Wow, this thing is really effective. I mean, just, uh, just wow, and wow. I would not want to be stuck in that thing. And it looked like, well, in the back it looks like chocolate pudding for some reason. Don't know why. Frankly, I'd be kind of worried to be that dude for this scene because that's really him in there with that stuff being flipped over. And oh God, I hope he had some major oxygen. But yeah, I mean, nothing could possibly go wrong. I mean, it's just Jello. He's going to get out of it with no problem. Okay, scratch that. He's definitely done for. Oh, this is going to take some major explaining to do. And wow, there's a lot of blood. It's a lot of blood. And of course, this particular dude and his date are, of course, doing the famous breaking of every single horror trope rule. One must not do this in order to survive. One must not do this in order to survive. I don't think this dude understands those concepts. And, well, given this, though, he's definitely got a stocked trunk bar. I mean, wow. That makes me wish I had something like this. Yeah, nothing could possibly go wrong here. I mean, it's not like you're breaking every horror movie rule. Yeah, this is what you get for breaking the rules, dude. You're gonna get it. She's already gone. Damn. We give this thing credit. It is very creative in the kills. And of course, after the lovebird sandwich, it's going into the sewers. Like, when does it not go into the sewers? So, not a good trope. But it tells us that this thing is definitely adaptable. And of course, the two heroes come together, and as we all know, stuff's about to happen. This is what makes the movie so good, is that while it still follows much of that same, for lack of a better word, that same structure as the original film, it does its own things. And the kill count is already, like, up there. I mean, this thing is already more dangerous, more brutal. There's stuff I can't even show. I've probably shown enough as it is. in terms of the sheer brute force violence. But this thing definitely is creative, interesting, and I love the new takes on many of the sequences, the kills, and so forth. You have the film here with these two who have now become our heroes. They're trying to figure out things, and yet they're like the only people who seem to have any idea on what's going on. Part of it's their experiences, and part of it is just surviving. And let's be fair, that's kind of two different and yet very similar things. And I'll be fair, this thing is extremely dangerous. I mean, and wow, it's getting to be a pretty significant creature. And we just have to remember, every time it eats somebody, it gets stronger, it gets larger, it somewhat gets faster. It does change, and I think this film really does do kind of an incredible job here. You just don't know what's going to happen, and I think that's probably one of the best parts of the movie. You didn't see that in the original movie now, did ya? This thing is like totally different and more dangerous than anything. But I gotta admit, that right there, that sequence, that is freaking cool. Also, it looks kind of like a strawberry shake, but at other times it looks like chocolate pudding. There's a lot of chocolate pudding references in this movie. Go figure. And there goes your sheriff. Holy crap. And that's pretty terrifying, knowing that your sheriff is now being dissolved. And the worst part is, I think he's still alive at this point. Holy crap. My God. Yeah, and there goes your sequel setup. The priest, some little turned into icicles. Blob. Nothing could possibly go wrong, right? Oh yeah, and then the guys in spacesuits show up. Where the hell were these guys in the original? Seriously though, you don't want to see people in either spacesuits or hazmat type suits like this, as that's usually a very bad sign that something terrible is going to go on. Needless to say, these guys become a major factor in parts of the film that aren't even, Blob related. And it changes the whole dynamic of the movie as we go forward. And, you have an attack at a movie theater and so forth. And, you gotta see this movie to understand it. So basically, from this point, learning that, you've got guys in rubber suits here now to try to stop the problem. And then, of course, you've got other problems wanting to come and kick your butt. It kind of makes things a little bit more complicated. And it just spirals out from there. You have the town basically becoming infested. You have people trying to be evacuated. You have the government wanting to get their hands on this thing. You have all of this stuff happening, and it actually does make a pretty good movie. And believe it or not, this particular version actually holds up very well in production and design. I'm actually still very impressed by it. It works very well. And as you've seen, just these little quick things, there's a lot going on. And to be fair, there's still a massive body count that comes even after all this. And I don't think we've seen everybody who's dead. Just saying. Needless to say, I'm going to highly recommend this movie. Definitely not for kids. Please have a good time and enjoy your movie. Like and subscribe, hit bell, all that good stuff. I'll see you later.